Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Davis. This is Jim Morose. This is Jim's Table Topics. Today is June 26th. Last night we had the Falcon Fest Rewind. I hope everyone had a good time. I was going to go, but there's only so many things an old guy can do in one day. But I hear it was a great time, and tomorrow night's debate night. President Biden versus President candidate Trump. Ought to be fun. Ought to be fun. So at any rate, today's show we're just going to name, I guess we have a new term now. It's called what? Cheap fakes, cheap deep fakes. Yeah, well, I'm going to call this is cheap, deep, and fake videos because do we even know what's real anymore? It all started when the Dirt Devil, the Dirt Devil is actually just a vacuum cleaner that, the vacuum cleaner. But they had the vacuum cleaner dancing with Fred Astaire, and it looked real because the technology is just so advanced, and that was decades ago they did that. Of course they got green screens, everything else. They can make anything look real, and they do. The deep state is a deep fake, and it's a terrible thing. So I came across, I was watching the news last night. They had a guy on. He was from the American Accountability Foundation, and they got a website, so you can go there. They're trying to find out who's running the country. In fact, last month, this is June, so the May show, I had a little thing in there about who's running the country, and it's all these unelected bureaucrats. And lo and behold, there is a group looking for all these unelected bureaucrats that are lifetime. They call them public servants, but are they really serving us? No, they're not. Oh, Lord have mercy on us. Too many laws. Who can figure out this mess? It's a mess. It's just a mess. But at any rate, we'll get into the bad news, the fake news, the deep fake news, the news that just never ends. Just never ends. I mean, really. So, because you know that I like to spend the first 5, 10, 15 minutes on the good news. The good news of Jesus and Christianity, and, because we got enough bad news and enough fake news to choke a horse, quite frankly. And we're in a sad state of affairs. We can't even have civil conversations with people, just because we support different candidates. In the old days, people used to be able to discuss, well, I'm voting for this guy because of this, and you're voting. Let's have the discussion. But no, everybody lives in their own little bubble. How tight is the bubble? The bubble is so tight, you would never in a million years catch a socialist Democrat or any Democrat candidate being interviewed or be going into a debate on a conservative channel with only conservative people and only a conservative audience and all this stuff. No, that would never happen. But yet, that's the only way the debates are run today. The Republicans have to go into the Democratic lion's den and get torn apart because Jake Tapper and what's her name? Yeah, Dana Bash, who's FYI, her husband is one of the 51 people who signed the FBI declaration that Hunter Biden's laptop is a Russian deep fake and is disinformation. Another lie. Of course, 7 years ago, Snopes and all the other liberal socialist, media folks said that, Trump called, the white supremacists and David Duke and all this crap, that they were good guys. But no, he didn't. He never did. They they initiated the cheap fakes because they cut out what Trump said and left out what the real context and meaning was, and they vilified him for 7 years. Now after 7 years, they're going to say, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. That really didn't happen. But yet, people made life-changing vote decisions on that and all the other fake lies that they've made us endure. Lord have mercy. So that's my intro, and it only gets worse from there in the bad news situation. It's just bad all around. I just can't wait till this election's over because I'm I'm crawling in my hole and I ain't coming out. Okay, but at any rate, let's get into the good news. No, I'm only kidding. I'm not going to crawl into my hole and not come out. I will stand for the truth, justice, and the American way, which we will get into. And it does include spirituality, Christianity, and God. You know, we have a total misrepresentation and a whole deep fake understanding of the separation of church and state. Okay, the good news. What is the good news? You know, everyone has the different. The good news, the Christianity good news is basically Jesus came and died for our sins. And the Bible, the Christian Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, talks about, you know, the chosen people, the Jews, and how the Messiah would be coming to save the whole world. And that was the prophecies in the Old Testament, and the New Testament with the fulfillment of those prophecies. And if you look at the Bible closely and intently, they actually have several. They have a couple of different versions of the Bible. They have a million translations and this and that. But there's one Bible that has. They have stars, a silhouette of a star in the Old Testament, on verses that are prophetic, and then it tells you to go to this New Testament. And then you go to the New Testament, and the star is filled in where the prophecy was fulfilled in the New Testament about the Messiah. And there was, there was so many prophecies that were prophesied in the Old Testament that came true in the New Testament, and they're still coming true because the world hasn't ended yet. Though we're getting pretty close, I would say. That's why it's really important to make sure you know where you stand with God, your spiritual, your Creator. What are we put on earth for? Why are we here? Well, the Bible kind of explains why we're here. We're here to know love. The Catholics have a great, catechism saying there that says, our whole purpose on life is to know, love, and serve God. And what does God want us to do? He wants us to treat everyone like He treated everyone, with dignity and respect, whether they deserve it or not. Except, the leaders, well, like I said, Matthew had, there was a bunch of, the Pharisees and the leaders of the church back in the day, the seven woes of Matthew 27, 28, 24, whatever it is. But we've talked about it before, so. All right, so let's just get into a quick commercial about Jesus.
From the moment you were born, you've been on a quest. You've been searching. I'm Greg Laurie. And I want to share a few thoughts with you about what you're searching for. Maybe you thought a possession would do it. Maybe you thought a relationship would do it. Maybe you thought religion would do it. And none of it has worked. You know what the issue is? You are looking for God. And guess what? God is searching for you. He loves you. And He is ready to fill that hole in your life that you've tried to fill with all these other things. Just pray, Jesus, come into my life. Forgive me of my sin. I want to follow you from this moment forward as my Savior and Lord. If you pray a prayer like that, God will hear it and answer it. And I would like to hear from you. There's a number on the screen that you can call, and I'll send you a free Bible.
Okay, well, so Greg Laurie, just so you know, he's a minister, and he's out in California. But if you've ever heard of the movie, the Jesus Revolution, back in the 60s, that was all about him and a couple of other pastors that had the hippie Jesus Revolution back in the 60s, the revival. And it's an interesting movie, and he was, kind of in the periphery, but all of a sudden he became a big leader, and he really came to the fore of, being a real leader and a pastor for Jesus and the teacher of the truth. But at any rate, we're all older now from the 60s. But he makes a good point. Jesus is not going to tackle you and beat you on the head. And in fact, yeah, go ahead, Ben. Fill that Satan thing up. We can roll that into what Jesus' plan is. That was picture number one there. No, back one. No. After our good news, we're going to go into. Go back one more. Yeah. Okay. Satan's strategy is simple. It's very simple. Make sin look normal and make righteousness look weird. Be aware. This is actually a biblical prophecy come true. The Bible says in the end times, people will call good evil and evil good. And pretty much that's where we are right now. That's what we're talking about. We're passing laws to make evil good and good evil. We have people maiming, killing, shooting, raping people all up and down the country here, and the Department of Justice doesn't even prosecute those cases. They're burning down cities in the summer of love 2020. They didn't, but they're putting, people who are outside abortion clinics praying for the souls of the people and the babies, and they put them in jail. What? They're just out there praying. Apparently praying is pretty serious business now, huh? Lord have mercy on us, and we're going to need a lot of mercy. Grace, mercy. You really don't want justice. Mercy is not getting what you deserve. If you're guilty, you can say, "Oh, give me mercy. No, don't make me pay for my pen." And grace is getting something that you don't deserve. Like you get your paycheck. That's you worked for that. That's not grace. But if your boss says, "Hey, here's a couple of $100. You did a great job," that's grace. He just gave it to you because he just gave it to you. But at any rate, in justice, justice is getting what you deserve. When you look at the law and the punishment, which truth, justice in the American way, so it's very American and it's very biblical. We need to focus on justice. Justice is very important. So, like I said, Jesus. We'll talk about Jesus when we come back. Let's see. I got to check my time. Okay, I'm still good. Okay, I want to just talk about the end times. I'm just going to read Matthew 9, verses 35 through 38. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into this harvest field." So there are many people that are lost. They're sheep without lead. They're following the wrong voices, and we need more people to spread the good news. It's exactly like it says in the Bible, the good news. The good news, and that's what's going to save people, not some government program, not some, pick a program, none of this stuff is going to help. You need to find the meaning of life and spirituality and whatever it takes. Find yourself a church, preferably a Bible-believing church. Find out who, what, when, where, and why. Like I said, there was a great big, miscalculation, it's a whole conspiracy, the separation of church and state. I read a book about the myth of separation of church and state. The separation of church and state never came into the American modicum until like 1946, when the Supreme Court said, "There's a separation of church and state. There's a wall separation of church and state." But they defined the wall incorrectly. What they're saying is the church has no business going into the state. It's the other way around. The wall was built, as Thomas Jefferson wrote back in the 1700s, to the Baptist Church in Connecticut, by the way, and the whole letter's online. Go find it and read it for yourself. But it says, no, the wall of separation is to keep the state out of the church. The state has no business telling the church how to run its business, how to follow their faith, and how men individually should live out their religious beliefs. The only stipulation is if your religious beliefs kind of infringes on someone else's, freedom, then you're wrong. Like the mercy killings that the Muslims talk about. If something happened, they kill people because the infidels, we got off-the-wall Christians who back in, several decades ago were shooting up abortion clinics. Yeah, that's not really, good. No, that's not the way God would want that. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. But it has happened, and people talk about, the Crusades and all that. But you know what? If you want to know what a real what a real religion is what it is you go back to its founder and then find out what the real religion of the founder was. Then you'll find out the people who say that they follow this person, but they make mistakes, but don't, it's like our politics now. If they don't like something, then they'll take any mistake and paint the whole group with it, But it never works the other way around, Well, we'll get into it. We're going to get into it now. That's the good news, folks. I had another couple of verses here. Well, maybe I will read it because, there's always time. Matthew 24, verses 10 through 14. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached into the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come. That's the prophecy. That's what's happening. You can see it. It's not, everything. It's like the wheels of injustice. Turn ever so slowly, the wheels of justice. The timeline has been set, and no one knows but God Almighty himself. Even the apostles said, Jesus, when is the end going to come? I don't even know, Jesus said. Only the Father in heaven knows, okay? So that's it. And we all just, let's try to do kingdom work, be good people to each other, and try to work together for the common good. But at any rate, we'll get into some of the bad news, but I just want to go into a few things before we got, I got a few minutes here before we get into a funny, I want to have a little comedy relief here. There's a comedian that I came across. He was on Gutfeld, and then someone sent me one of his 1 minute skits. So I got 2 1-minute skits that hopefully will bring a chuckle to your face. But at any rate, we need to, get a grip on life, and not take everything so seriously, I mean, politics is the be-all, end-all of, oh, no. In fact, well, it is, because the politics are killing us, and there's just too much. They are overburdening the system. They're overburdening the citizens with all these laws. No one even knows what the heck the laws are anymore. We used to have common law. It used to be very simple. Now, as I just read, wickedness is abounding because no one even knows what to do anymore, so they just don't even bother. And as you can see, they lie about the, again, fake news. They changed the definition of, and we'll get into that too, they got videos on that. They changed the definition of words, and they changed the reporting structure, so the statistics that, will say, even though the crime is up, I mean, heck, every weekend in Chicago, there's 100 shootings. Right? Oh, wow. And out of the 100 shootings, it's a good thing they're bad shots, because, out of the 100 shootings, only, there's only 4 or 5 deaths. But still, any one death is bad. And it's not the gun's fault. In fact, I don't care how many gun laws you pass, it's against the law to own a gun in Chicago and in New York. And so guess what happens? Only the criminals have guns. So you can pass as many laws as you want, and you just make criminals out of law-abiding citizens that bend over backwards and do the best they can, fill out all the forms, fill out all the papers. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I bought a gun. Yeah, I own a gun. And yet you jump on the citizens and you let the criminals go free. Pathetic. It's just pathetic. The Department of the DOJ, the Department of Justice, is just corrupt and gone over the edge. And you can, I don't care. It's just pathetic. And it will come, you'll see it tomorrow night at the debate. So I'm talking about all this crap, and the debate's tomorrow night. Lord knows what's going to happen. Lord have mercy on us. Because Trump's walking into the lion's den, and Joe Biden's got everyone there. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. They're all there to prop him up. They're going to make him look good. You got Jake Trapper and that Dana Bosch. They literally have Trump derangement syndrome. If you go back and look at all the things they've ever said about Trump since Trump came down in 2016, what year is it now, 2024? 8 years. For 8 years, they've been demeaning and browbeating Trump. They couldn't say one good thing about him. If you can find one thing out of 8 years of all the reporting that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash have done in the last 8 years that said one thing that they said that Trump did something good, I'll give you $100, but it's pathetic. No, they never gave him 1 inch of credit for anything. And it's going to be on full display tomorrow night. But before we get into more fake and stuff, we need to have some more fun. In fact, you know, there was a meme that came out. Those 2 I read in the last guy. I should have had them for this show, but you know, there's only so much I can do, and then I keep forgetting about it. But one of them, this one wasn't even some woman on the. We have a Danvers Public Square Facebook page. See if you can find it if you want to go on it. People talk about blah 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 blah, politics and stuff. It's public square. You talk about anything you want. Someone wrote, this group is boring. And you know, of course, it's easy to, you know, I didn't answer her. I scanned this stuff and I go, I was going to say, I didn't know we were here to entertain you. I thought that we were just here to inform people about what's going on. But she's the kind of person who, no matter, you know, if you anything conservative, she's the one who can't tolerate it. Just get, you know, but at any rate, and then the other one was, which I thought was pretty funny. They said, oh, all these memes that come out, I think they're kind of funny, and you get triggered and you're upset. And I guess that's why I'm a happy kind of guy, and you're miserable. You know, let's get out of the misery factor. You know, you have to, there's only so long you can have a pity party for yourself. You're going to have to pull your, you know, well, maybe you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's why you need to find a church, some spirituality, and some friends and people that have common, that positive, that are moving forward, not getting stuck in the little pity party, what do they call it, you know, mutual depression society or whatever, and mutual gripe society. Let's bellyache about this, bellyache about that, bellyache. But at any rate, so I want to have some fun. So yeah, Ben, cue up those 2. We'll play them back to back. Trump in jail and Trump's vaccine. Trump, go.
Found guilty of 34 felonies, right? Don't, he'll twist it, man. He'll make it fun. He'll make it cool. It's fine. 34 counts. Nobody's done it. Nobody can do that. Nobody can do it. 34. It's never been done. Our numbers are so big. These are big numbers. 34. El Chapo couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. 22 times. What a failure. Guilty on 22 counts. I said, what an amateur. 34. No, we're doing it. Al Capone couldn't do it. 27 counts, which is really beginner stuff. That's beginner stuff. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. The Zodiac Killer. Can you believe this? 9 counts. I go, this is it. What is this, amateur hour? 9 counts. The Zodiac. I call him the Zodiac Loser. That's what I call him. That's what I call it. We are going to jail, and we are going to jail so quick and so strong, and nobody's going this quick. 2 days, we'll be there in 2 days. We're making felonies great again. That's what we're doing. I'll be out in the yard, right? The jail yard. Catch me outside. I'll be out in the yard. Shackles, these are going to be great shackles. Golden, we're going to get the golden shackles. They say Trump's yard, right there, Trump's yard.
This country's all divided because of the pandemic, the vaccine mandate. I was called a far-right extremist Trump supporter for not getting the vaccine. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, one honest guy. How'd that make you feel?
Tiny.
Huh?
Tiny.
Tiny? It made you feel tiny? When you're called a racist Trump supporter? You need a vaccine, but not for that. You just need like a IQ vax or something. So just boost my IQ, come on. Well, either way, Trump made the vaccine, you know what I mean? If you love Trump, you would have got the goddamn thing. He made that, you remember? That was his baby, right? Warp speed, excuse me, warp speed. No, you all have warp speed in you right now. You have Trump juice inside your body. Warp speed so quick, it was supposed to take 5 years, but I made it in 2 days, warp speed. You have experimental Trump juice in your body, floating around. Warp speed, nobody makes it that quick. It goes quick, fast, very fast. Lightning speeder than warp speed, right? Nobody feels tiny when they get it. Big, very big. If I like Trump, I'd be like, give me that Patriot pinch, give it to me, come on. I got my NRA tattoo and my mRNA tattoo, come on. Making vaccines great again.
Okay, I can watch those 100 times. It's just funny. But you know what else? Comedy is the best comedy like this is based on truth, and it's like, what? Yeah, the vaccine. If you ever listen to the between the lines between what the the fake news tells you about what's going on with Fauci and the CDC and the WHO is the World Health Organization, all these, corrupt entities that forced us to take, wear a mask, 6 feet social distancing, shut down businesses, stay in your house, don't get out. If we need you, we'll call you. If you don't get the vaccine, you're fired. Yeah, exactly. Those are what we call tyrants. The public health. No, there was no matter what you did. In fact, the death rates, they were calling people, if you got hit in a motorcycle, if you were in a motorcycle accident, verified, died in a motorcycle accident, they called it a COVID death, only because they were giving money if you had COVID deaths coming out of your hospital. So, COVID death. Yeah, I think he tested positive for COVID, even though he died in a motorcycle accident. Yeah, yep, COVID death. And they did that millions of times, okay? The numbers are coming down. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it was an epidemic. People died, okay? I'm not going to minimize that, but I will maximize the fact that they did it the wrong way. That Fauci and whoever else was in charge, I know it was right at the time when, Trump was leaving, Biden was coming in, so we had all sorts of, but no. In fact, if you look at some of the reports while Trump was doing the actual vaccinating, his warp speed thing, they had interviews with Biden and Kamala Harris and, what's her name, Nancy Pelosi, and all the Democrats saying, I'll never take that vaccine, not with Trump running that vaccine. All of a sudden, Biden's president and Trump finished the vaccine, and it's the Trump vaccine. Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. Oh, thank you, Joe Biden. He's the best. He is the best. Yeah, right. Wake up and smell the tyranny, people, but it does make a good joke. And the same thing with the other one. Let's make felonies great again. Like I said in my opening, Snopes, for 7 years now, or 8 years, whatever, pick a number, it doesn't matter. Anything over, any moron could have figured out if they looked at the tape that, no, he didn't call the white supremacists and David Duke good people. No, he said there's a lot of good people here, but we gotta, find out who these bad people are. That's what he said. If you look at it, and it was right. But they're the ones who created the deep, cheap fakes, and they've been doing it since last century because we've got it documented all over the place. But you're gonna have to wake up, people, and get out of your bubble. But we'll get to hit one more comedy spot. Let's see, where am I? Yeah, Ben, that picture number 2, the combination trash bin and pool. Just thought this was funny. No pool, no problem. I think it's funny, except that if you did this in Danvers, they'd probably tax you for a pool in your backyard. So you're gonna have to pay $50 or $200 a year to keep those trash barrels, and you're going to have to pay a pool tax on top of it for having an above-ground pool in your backyard. But I just thought it was funny. But because just follow the money, people. Follow the money. Follow the money right into the Ukraine. Why are we throwing all that money into the Ukraine? Because we give them billions of dollars and millions come back to all the deep state hacks like Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell. They're all in on this. They all get their kickbacks. The money comes in and it goes in. You know, they have these shell companies, and all of a sudden this money just goes into, you know, how do these people who start out as little paupers going into Congress and then they come out multimillionaires? But at any rate, follow the money. Follow the money. There was a chart and it showed how most people go in and they're worth, you know, 500,000 or $1 million, and they come out and they're worth 12 to 25 million. Those are all the deep state hacks. But then they showed Trump. He went in at like I don't know, 32 billion, and he came out at 30 billion because he lost $3 billion in there. Why? Because he doesn't he doesn't play the game. That's why, you know. That's why they hate him. That's why they got to get rid of him. And you know, there was a meme that said, "Gee, is that why? Is Trump doing the same thing that John JFK tried to do, and that's why they had to get rid of him?" And then when his brother Robert tried to finish up what his brother started, we can't have truth, justice in the American way. All right, we're gonna have to get on to cue up the next video. It's like I said, the deep state fakes, and fakes. Go.
What's in a word? Why does it matter whether we call someone who breaks the law to enter the country an illegal alien or an undocumented immigrant? What's the difference between a Christmas tree and a holiday tree? It's just semantics, right? Yes and no. It is just semantics, but semantics means the meaning of words. Words exist so that we might discriminate one thing from another. Without words, we have chaos. And it starts with the first words. A baby says mama to distinguish mommy from daddy. Words shape how we think. They color how we view the world. No one understands this better than the left. They are the masters of words because they know that words matter. The left has a special gift for euphemisms, soft words selected to sugarcoat harsh realities so as to make those harsh realities easier for us to swallow. But these soft words are insidious. Their sole purpose is to deceive. Race discrimination in hiring and college admissions is refashioned as the much nicer sounding affirmative action. Who would ever oppose an affirmative action? Global warming, which can be measured and challenged, has morphed into climate change, which means essentially nothing because the climate is always changing. When Barack Obama became president, George Bush's war in Afghanistan suddenly transformed into the far less ominous and threatening Overseas Contingency Operation. That's one way to try to end a war, just rename it. The examples are endless. There's a new euphemism every week. In the make-believe world of leftist language, young criminals have become justice-involved youth. Mandates and taxes are individual shared responsibility payments. Government spending becomes an investment. Wanting to keep more of your hard-earned money becomes greed. Taking more of someone else's money is them paying their fair share. Opposing a Democrat in the White House is obstruction. Opposing a Republican in the White House, resistance. In the name of diversity, the left enforces intellectual conformity. It censors opposing views in the name of tolerance. And it labels all non-left views hate speech. Consider the ongoing battle over pronouns, whether to call a man who thinks he's a woman he or she. Very few people in the country suffer from gender confusion, and we should have compassion for those who do. But the left has invested countless funds, time, and energy to make everyone refer to some men as she and some women as he. Why? Is it because the left is so compassionate? Or is it more likely because so much of the left's cultural agenda is about blurring, even denying, the natural distinctions between men and women? Sometimes it's just an adjective that can change or even negate the entire meaning of the word it describes. Take social justice. Justice means getting what you deserve without favor. Social justice means getting what you don't deserve because you are favored. Here's one we hear a lot these days. My truth. Truth is reality regardless of any individual's feelings or perceptions. My truth is how I perceive things regardless of how they really are. And how about same-sex marriage? Let's not get into the politics. Let's just look at the language. Throughout history, in every culture, marriage has been the union of husbands, men, and wives, women. Same-sex marriage is the union of men with men or women with women, but it is most certainly not the union of husbands and wives. Once the phrase same-sex was placed before the word marriage, that is, once the definition of marriage changed, the debate changed. It became about marriage equality. It was suddenly an act of bigotry to limit marriage to husbands and wives. All this manipulation of language has paid off for the left, because whoever controls the words controls the culture. Don't believe me? Just try using plain language instead of the left's politically correct jargon. But be careful. Use the wrong words, and you might lose your job, your home, and your reputation. The culture war is largely a war of words. Right now, the left is winning. You can see the consequences everywhere. In politics, in education, in media. It's time to fight back. We should not cede another syllable. What's in a word? Everything. I'm Michael Knowles, host of The Michael Knowles Show for Prager University.
Welcome back. You know, every time I see that 5-minute video, you know, I just get depressed. You know, I mean, how many lies are we going to have to endure? How many twisted words are we going to have to just, you know, it's like a fisherman, you know, you put this worm on the hook, you're hiding the hook. Oh, the fish goes, oh, look at that, there's the worm, I want to eat it. Oh, gotcha. They're doing the same thing with our language. They make, what did he say? He said they use soft words to minimize the harsh realities of what we're doing. Okay, so, I mean, you know, how big a lie is just this? They said a fetus is just a mush of, you know, a mess of flesh or matter, whatever it is. You know, it's just a collection of cells. There's a mess of cells. That's what they say a fetus is. But actually, fetus is Latin for baby. Okay, and you know, it's a baby until you don't want it. Then it becomes a fetus, and it's okay. But there's all sorts of reasons, but we won't even get into it. But again, how many more times are they going to lie? And those are just the big hot issues, you know. It's just everything. It's one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. It just keeps coming. It never ends. To the point now where we have people in college campuses supporting Palestinian Hamas who are terrorists, whose main goal in life is to kill and eliminate all Jewish infidels. Well, all Jewish people, and then the infidels, which, oh, by the way, are us. And if you walk through a Hamas-run city or town and held up that gay flag and said, yeah, peace, love, and they'd take you up to the tall building and throw you off, because that's what they do. That's their religion. Of course, that kind of violates our freedoms, because, you know. But again, that's what they do. And of course, I've seen reports on TV, because you gotta believe them when they say the cultural, you know, liberal socialist leaders say that if you mention the fact that Muslims and Hamas would throw homosexuals off tall buildings, then that's just hateful and scareful and not true. Oh, okay. I think everyone needs to go on a field trip to Gaza and Hamas-run cities and towns and see what really happens to Christians, gays, and all infidels. Okay, so at any rate, that's where we are, and there'll be no coming back. I mean, if you keep voting with all this false information and all this hate, it's you can't look at this without seeing that the whole system is broken. Washington, D.C. is broken. The media is broken. Our culture is broken. We're going to get in the next video we're going to show, which is another few minutes, but is going to talk about truth, justice, and the American way. What are the American values? What are we supposed to stand for? You know, I've said this before on this show. You can go, you can go to get your DNA tested, and they can tell you whether your ancestors came from Europe, Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Asia, Africa, India, South America, whatever. There's certain markers that, because cultures have certain markers. But America is not a culture. America is, we used to be the melting pot. All together. We all come in and we're all one people. That's why when we all come together and we fought World War I or World War II, we're all together and we're fighting the enemy. We all come together. All colors, all races, all religions, everyone. But now we're a segmented country. The liberals and the socialists, with their lying, deceitful word games, have separated us into racial divides, cultural divides, socioeconomic divides, and sexual gender divides, and they're all divided. No one can talk to each other because of those. And we got to knock off the stupidity. Knock it off. People are people, no matter. We're all part of the human race, and we all better treat each other that way, without all this stupidity, the hate, and it's on both sides. I mean, I see it all the time. I mean, I just need the people, the trolls on Facebook. I just want you to know that the trolls on the left, instigators, and they say, if you don't believe this, you're a racist, homophobic, and then the people on my side, which I can understand, but we've let this stuff go for so long that they're up against the wall and they've had it. It's like the coward of Broward County, if you ever heard the song. That's it. It's enough. And so now so the left is not used to getting pushback. Well, we're pushing back. And Trump is the king of pushback. He ain't taking any of this crap. He's calling the lies for what they are. And you all better wake up. And so our extreme is just giving the left a taste of their own medicine, and they can't take it. It's not right. We all should treat people with dignity and respect, even though they never treat us with dignity and respect. It's been like that for years, but we always have to play nice in the sandbox, because no matter what the left does, as you'll see, Biden gets away with literally murder. He can say anything he wants, and it's okay. And it's all the way down the line. As long as, it's not really that whether you're a Democrat. It's like Liz Cheney and all the other rhino Republicans, as long as they toe the liberal lie and tolerate all that stupid wordsmithing stupidity and lies and the narrative, then you're okay. We will never say anything bad about you. But if you speak out against it, you will never do anything good, and everything you do is evil and bad. That's the boilerplate, folks. And if you can't see it, good luck to you, because that's how Nazi Germany started. We are right there now. We're in Germany, 1938. We have people supporting the elimination of Jews and the murder of Jews on our college campuses. Those are your kids. Those are our kids out there doing that, okay? So wake up and smell the tyranny, people. Those are that's how Hitler started, with his brown shirts. All his college kids that came around and turned in their parents. Oh, just like our social warriors are going to turn in. Yeah, they want to eliminate the Jews, and they're going to point out anyone who's not with them. Okay. Yeah, let's put the truth, justice, and the American way. We got to get back.
Race and ethnicity have defined every nation on earth, except one, the United States of America. It is defined by values. So to understand America, you have to understand American values. They are: 1, e pluribus unum; 2, liberty; 3, in God we trust. I call this the American Trinity. I made up the name, but I didn't make up the values. They are on every American coin. The first, e pluribus unum, is Latin, meaning out of many, one. When first adopted as an American motto, shortly after the American founding in 1776, it referred to the 13 American colonies becoming one nation. Over time, however, most Americans understood the motto to mean one people from many backgrounds. To quote the E Pluribus Unum Project, funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities, over the years, E Pluribus Unum has also served as a reminder of America's bold attempt to make one unified nation of people from many different backgrounds and beliefs. In other words, America doesn't care about your national or ethnic origins. This explains why people who immigrate to America assimilate faster and more fully than immigrants to any other country. Most of those who have immigrated to Europe from, for example, Turkey, as millions have, are not considered fully German by fellow Germans, or fully Swedish by fellow Swedes, or fully Spanish by fellow Spaniards. This is even true of the children and grandchildren of those immigrants. And just as important, few of those immigrants, or their children or grandchildren, will ever feel fully German, Swedish, or Spanish. But a Turk who immigrates to the United States will be regarded as fully American as any other American, the moment he or she becomes a citizen. And they, and certainly their children, will feel fully American. Of course, America has not always lived up to this e pluribus unum ideal, but the ideal was always there, and it was applied to virtually every immigrant to America. The second component of the American Trinity is liberty. Now you might ask, didn't the French Revolution also enshrine liberty as a central national value? Wasn't its motto liberty, equality, fraternity? The answer is yes. America is hardly the only country to enshrine liberty. It is the only country to enshrine liberty e pluribus unum and in God we trust. What's the difference? The difference is this. The moment you affirm equality, as the French Revolution did, you will lose liberty. It is a basic American value that all human beings are born equal and all must be equal before the law. But ending up equal, that's a French and European value. And if you want people to end up equal, you must deprive them of liberty, which is exactly what happened right after the French Revolution and in every other society that made equality its national goal. America gives people the liberty to end up wherever their abilities, work ethic, and luck take them, meaning unequal. Therefore, professional athletes will make more money than teachers or doctors. That may be unfortunate, but that is what liberty allows. If you want equality, you will tell people how much they can earn, and that means the end of liberty. And third, in God we trust. Unlike almost every other country, America never had a state religion. But it was founded on the principle that God, specifically the God of the Bible, is the source of moral values. As the Declaration of Independence put it, all people are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In other words, rights come from God, not from men. If rights are given by men, men can take them away. The American Trinity is the reason America became the world's freest and most prosperous country. But many Americans want to, in the words of former President Barack Obama, fundamentally transform it. They wish to replace American values with European values. Equality of result and an ever-expanding state, which greatly reduce individual freedom. The celebration of ethnic and racial identity, which is the opposite of e pluribus unum, and the removal of God as the source of morality and rights. Which set of values Americans adopt will determine whether America remains free, prosperous, and the force for good in the world that it has been. With the exception of the Civil War, this is the greatest internal battle in American history. I'm Dennis Prager.
Welcome back. You know, it just breaks my heart to see how far off the beaten path we have come, from truth, justice, and the American way to lies, globalism, and any which way but loose, I guess. Everyone's going their own way. I mean, that's what the Bible says, people follow their own, desires, and chaos ensues. It's, again, it's of biblical proportions. It's all predicted, and it's just human nature. And he's right when he talks about the fact that, let's just take the rights. We are given our rights. Our Creator has given us rights. Now I'm turning it to Joe Biden. Endowed by our Creator with unalienable rights that are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the pursuit of happiness, you know, in 1776, happiness wasn't going out and drinking and doing, no. Happiness was having your gifts and talents given to you by God and being able to pursue your career, your livelihood, to provide for yourself and your family, and to do a job, to help the community. That's what happiness was, doing what you want to do and not being enslaved, which was the last video we had, the last show. But at any rate, we're run out of time. How can I undo 50 years of lies by the left and the media, and the brainwashing and the propaganda and the gaslighting that's gone on? It's just it's insurmountable. It's going to need divine intervention. That's why my new motto has been more Jesus, less politics, less stupidity, and this has got to end. I don't know what it's going to take to have people wake up and smell the tyranny. How can you vote? The question has always been, are you better now or 4 years ago? Are you better now than you were 4 years ago? The inflation at 9%, it's the prices of gas, the economy, the job, and forget about the illegal aliens. It's just sad. And again, the American values are of freedom, and all of us coming together, no matter, for the common good of our communities and our state and our nation. We're working together, not fighting over all the, you're free to do whatever you want, just don't force other people to do it. And see, that's where we are now. See, we, with all these stupid, segmenting of America, we have to tolerate, people who, we all need to tolerate people that are different from us. And we need to accept them. But you can't force us to celebrate them. No, there are some things that we have to draw a line. So we'll tolerate, we'll accept, do not force. And so that's the definition of tyranny. Of course, oh, it's hateful, that's hate. Oh, no, that's very hurting. It's just pathetic. I don't know how we can. Let's put up picture number 7 if you can, Ben. Number 7, and see, it's again, for 50 years, 60. Look at these people, from Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, Patrick Leahy, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi. The list goes on. These people have been in there for decades, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. Trump was in there for 4 years, and they blame him for everything. Are you kidding me? That's what I'm talking about, the deception. That's what I'm talking about, the gaslighting and the propaganda. Those are the people that are causing the problems, and yet they blame Trump for all that stupidity. No. That's why more Jesus, less stupidity. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to hide it in a rock. I'm just going to, I used to be the chairman of the Damas Republican Committee. I am, now I am the treasurer. I got to find someone who likes money, and, we need to find a treasurer to take my place. But I want to back out of all this stuff, hand the torch off to the next generation. I'm in my 70s. We need some, at least 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds would be nice. So 60, 50, 40, at least you got a few years. Come on down. We post our meetings. It's the third, Republican committee meets the third Wednesday of every month at the Damas Fire Station there on High Street. And come on down, just see what's happening. You don't have to, we're not going to bite. We haven't killed anyone in decades, In fact, in case, it was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, who did the proclamation to free the slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves. And hence Juneteenth and all the freedom, that's what it's all about. And that's what we're all about, freedom. But so come on down and just listen to what's happening And if you want to speak, we have new business or open mic if anybody wants to talk. But we do have to get through some of the stupid business. These programs, all the that's why we need younger, newer people in these like political parties, because the whole process and the whole way they run is so archaic. It's pathetic. I mean, we're following the same processes and procedures they did in the 1800s. But we need to revamp the whole way things work. But that's why we need younger people. And I'm looking to someone to pass the baton to. I've already, we found someone to be the chairman. We got the vice chair, younger people. It's good. Things are so. Let's see what else. It's summer. We all got to learn to, try to enjoy life and not take things so seriously. Well, we got a few more minutes here. Ben, let me just pop up slide number 9. Or picture number 9, just so that, remember, today is the day before the Biden-Trump debate, okay? And so I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling. I just don't like what's happening here, and we'll see what happens. But I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling. I just don't. It's a lion's den. It's a trap. It's just that, I would like to see, some Democrats go into Newsmax. Yeah, see? So these are the guys that are going to be debating, okay? We all know that Joe Biden is it's not that he's old. Trump and Biden are the same age. There's two old white guys, right? But Biden has cognitive issues. His mental capacity is slipping, and it's known, and it's been seen all over. How are they going to control that during a 90-minute debate? I don't know, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to believe what I see. I know that for a fact. But okay, we're going to end on the good news. I'm running out of time. Okay, let's slap up number 6. Number 6. Yep, there we go. So this is, again, like I said, Jesus, he's not going to, he's looking for us to look for him. So Revelations 3:20 says, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat on my Father's throne. Whoever hears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches." So that's a famous painting. That's knocking on the door to your heart, and Jesus is just saying, I'm trying to help you. They got the old footprints, little, I guess you call it a meme now, but it was just a picture where, in a little saying that there was two sets of footprints in the sand, and then all of a sudden there was just one, and then it came back to 2, and so the person says to God, "Just God, why did you leave me in my toughest time?" And God says, "I didn't leave you. I was carrying you." So, God's ways are much higher than ours. We can't, we don't understand the implications of the who, what, when, where, and why, and the unintended consequences of all the things that we think, say, and do. And, because there is a spiritual world, the things that you think, say, and do have an impact in God. And there's even a Bible that says that the word of God is like a double-edged sword. It can cut and it can heal. Okay, and so the word goes out, and it will not come void. It will either convict you or save you, and that's basically what the Bible's all about. Sin, and we all come short of God's glory. So we have to confess to God that, sorry, made a mistake, help me, and we have to make amends, and don't go to bed angry. Make amends. If I've offended someone, let me know, and we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, God loves you. I love you. Enjoy the summer. We'll be back in July, but in 5, 4, 3, 2, this show is over. See you next month.